So this is going to be on marginal thinking and marginal analysis and our marginal utility and product and cost and our benefit and revenue. So first thing, when you think of marginal, think what word? Additional. So let's go through this. When we talk about utility, first thing you should know about utility is that it means what? How much use you get out of something. And it's very similar to the idea of benefit. So how much benefit do you get out of consuming or using some good or service? So utility is good like that. Sometimes we measure it in utils, but remember, utils are just kind of made up measurements of utility. But let's go ahead and go over marginal utility. What is marginal utility? It's utility, but we add what in front of it? Right. It's the additional utility you get from doing what? Consuming one more good or doing something one more time. So marginal utility is the extra utility you get from doing something one more time. So make sure that you can connect those two together. Now, when we have utility like this, we always want to maximize our utility. And when we're buying goods, you know, when we had the examples of like French fries, the hamburgers and everything, we always want to maximize utility. But what we need to consider is, are the prices of all these goods the same? So we always want to figure out what's our marginal utility per what? Dollar. Per dollar. So a lot of times we go to our marginal utility over the price. So it's how much are we spending? What is the most utility we can get for a dollar? You know the idea of more bang for your buck? This is what they mean. Marginal utility per dollar. And sometimes you'll have to compare it like marginal utility for product 1 and then MU2 over P2. And so you got to kind of compare these, and you'll want to do it until they're equal or until one's bigger than the other, you do that one. If one side answer is other, you do that one. So make sure you're ready to go back and forth between those two, especially when it comes to price. Now, other things we need to make sure you know more about is marginal product. You will definitely have questions on marginal product. So, marginal product is what? Right. The additional amount produced when we change one variable. What's the variable we'd like to change? What was the variable we used in this class when we get marginal product? Remember we had a factory and we were making a bucket? Labor. We added one worker, and how much extra of the product was produced. It's a good thing to know, and we need to know that there's different stages of production. The first stage is the what? Stage with increasing returns. It should go very close to marginal cost, economies of scale. It means that as we have one worker, our marginal product is what? Increasing. Remember, our additional product. So we have one worker, we get 2 new units. We add another worker, we get 3 additional units. We add another worker, we get 5 more than before. So remember, that's what marginal product is. For the stage 2 production, what happens to our marginal product? It starts to do what? Decrease. So we have one guy and we add him, we get 5. But we have the next guy and we get 4 more, which means are we getting more or less? We're getting more product, but our marginal product is decreasing. And what do we call that period? Diminishing returns. Don't forget about diminishing marginal returns. So we end up in stage 2. Stage 2 is where my costs increase. I still get more, but my costs increase. Stage 3 is negative returns. It means we add a worker, and what do we get? Well, negative marginal product. We get less overall. And how long do we stay in stage 3? We don't, and therefore we ignore it, and that's why it's not very important. But keep in mind that marginal product that we have, it goes very similar with marginal cost, which you should remember, marginal cost kind of has our economies of scale and then diminishing marginal returns, and that will be what our marginal cost curve tends to look like. And our marginal cost curve is very quickly going to become our what curve? Supply curve. Okay? Now, make sure you understand these ideas. Now let's go over the idea of marginal cost. Marginal cost goes very quickly with what other idea you need to know? Marginal benefit. We know they go hand in hand. If you think about when we were cleaning up the lake marginally, we want to do something until what occurs? Until marginal benefit equals marginal cost. Once we get to there, what are we going to do? Stop producing. So very quickly, let's say our marginal cost is very low, and our marginal benefit is higher than our marginal cost. What do we want to do in here? Keep doing that thing, right? Because if our cost is lower and our benefit's greater, we're getting surplus. And we'll keep doing it until this and this gets to right here. Marginal cost equals marginal benefit. That's when we decide to stop doing something. Because would you ever pay an extra $3 to get an extra $2 of benefit? No, that wouldn't make sense. So you would stop doing that right there. All right? Another idea you need to know about this kind of marginal thinking here is we need to know our formula for marginal cost. What is our formula for marginal cost? Ooh, okay. So this is bad, but let's go one more thing. I'll cover marginal cost and benefit in a moment, but next we're going to go to a quick back to utility. If marginal utility gets to 0, what have we done? Marginal utility, what have we done? We've maximized our what kind of utility? Very good. We've maximized our, no, not our utility, but which utility? Not our marginal utility, yeah, close. Well, no, marginal utility maximized would be a big number. This is 0, so it's clearly not maximized, but it's our, if marginal means additional, and we keep adding margin to the marginal, no? What does that stand for? Total utility is maximized. When we don't add anymore, what can we not do? Yeah, we can't benefit anymore, therefore our total utility is what? Right, in total, think sum. We take all our marginals and we add them together to get our total utility. All right, so let's go back to the little trouble you guys seem to have right here with marginal cost. What is the formula for marginal cost? Remember, it was the change in total cost over the change in quantity, which is also, this is also your marginal product. Okay? Remember, marginal cost is a cost of producing what? One more unit. Therefore, one more unit, we need to find, all right, how many extra units did we produce from one stage to the other? And we go and say, well, what was the change in cost? This will give us the ratio of one more unit. Make sense? All right. And then marginal benefit, once again, that's additional benefit of consuming, or sufficient marginal revenue would be the additional revenue you get from selling one more product.
But if it's marginal cost, it's like the change in quantity, wouldn't the quantity of it just be +1 because it's for one more unit?
Okay, say that again.
You said that it was a change. It was the change in
Total cost.
total cost over the change in quantity.
Right.
But wouldn't the change in quantity always just be 1 because it's one more unit?
Well, I want to know what it is for one more unit, but remember, my stages, when I add an employee, I get 5 more units. And my cost, so I got 5 units more, and my cost changed by $20. So how much was the last one I produced? What was the additional cost of the last one? Well, if I have 5 units and I have $20 extra in cost, that last unit cost me how much more? $4. 5 into the 10 cost me $4. So that's how much one more unit costs. Because remember, the difference was 5 from, let's say, the 3rd employee to the 4th employee. So I can't, it's not just an increase in one product each time. If I could do that, then it would be change in quantity, 1 over change total cost. And that's already solved. But typically, that's not how it works. So we have to have the change in quantity. All right. Other things to know then, and since I put change in total cost, you need to know your average total cost. How do you solve for your average total cost? Not a change in, because it's not marginal. This isn't additional.
Total cost out by quantity.
Very good. It's your total cost divided by quantity. So you say, how many did I make? Well, I made 100 units. How much did it cost me? $500, which means the average cost of producing any of them was what? I made 100. It cost me $500 to make 100. Therefore, my average cost is $5, which is a useful number. At average total cost, I know to break even, I need to sell them all for what price? At least $5. And if I have my average total cost, what can I solve from that? If it's, when I have my ATC curve like this, if I go, well, my quantity is 100 right here, but this is $5, what can I do with these two numbers? What can I solve? No, this is the average total cost right here. So the average total cost for making 100 here is $5.
Total cost?
How do I get my total cost?
105.
Yeah, you get 100 times 5. And if I multiply, I go, well, my total cost was $500. Okay? So you can work backwards when we get to the total cost. And that means that the area of this square, this rectangle right here, what is the area of that? 500. And therefore, it's going to be really useful when we start getting deeper into the graphing to know this. All right, there's other types of costs besides marginal and average total cost. What are the other types of costs that we could have?
Average variable cost.
Very good. Average variable cost. And our average variable cost, I'll do it with this color. Okay, that's going to be a nice kind of U shape like that. It's going to be below our average total cost. And average variable cost, those are costs that do what? From variable to variable. They change. So it changes. Things like raw material used or water wasted or lots of things that change. And we know in the long run what happens. Oh, well, actually, let me go ahead and draw one more line. What would this line be? Average fixed costs. Costs that don't change. Fixed costs are also typically what kind of a cost? That you should ignore or not use in marginal cost. Very good. They're a sunk cost. So we shouldn't really pay attention to them. That's why this gap right here between average total cost and variable cost is bigger, and here it should be smaller. Everyone understands that? Lowest point on these is your what? Minimum cost output. That's the lowest cost you can produce at. And that's why the marginal cost curve, which would be here, would go something like that. So average fixed costs we don't pay attention to, but it's costs that are fixed. We do want to use for our accounting profit, but not for marginal decisions. So average variable costs, cost of change. Average total costs are costs that is our total cost divided by the quantity. So you can go backwards with the math. And we should have most of our variables right there. This is a general costing, just make sure you know how to calculate it. And we know in the long run, what happens to fixed costs? Right. In the long run, fixed costs become variable. For example, if I'm in a year-long lease for my factory, can I get out of it cost efficiently in that year? No, therefore it's a fixed cost and it's sunk. But after a year or a few, I can do what with that factory? Move to a smaller one, move to a bigger one. I can change things. So over time, all costs become what? Variable. So long run, there are no what? There are no fixed costs. But in the short run, are there fixed costs? Yes, but they're also sunk, and we want to do what with them? Ignore them. Okay? So I hope you guys understand these costs and these cost structures. Your marginal thinking, make sure that when you get kind of the boxes that look like this and say when I had 1 person, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and I'm not going to put this up here because it just takes so long, make sure you know where the stages of production are. So here, I'll give you one really quick.
That's the marginal.
Okay, where's stage 1 production? What unit of production over here does stage 1 production end?
After stage 3.
Okay. Yeah, stage 3 is where it ends, because what's the marginal product right here? Marginal product's going to be 5. This is the difference of 5. There's 2. This one is kind of our 5. It's our outlier. I should have probably made that 4. Maybe this 3. There we go. And then what do we call this stage of production down here? Diminishing marginal returns, or stage 2 of production. Do I have stage 3 up here? No, and you probably won't see much stage 3, because what happens to stage 3? Gets fixed really quick and goes away. So make sure that you try a few of these practice problems, because they're really, really easy. Also, if I gave you, I'm going to give you a hint here. If I gave you the price of the product and the price of the product over here, I said you got $4 for each one of these. And for each worker, it was $7. You should be able to calculate where is my total revenue maximized. Now, I'm going to just leave that right there for you, but I strongly suggest you figure out how to calculate that, or you're going to be sitting there doing a lot of math, and that could take valuable time. Very, very easy questions, and I wish you good luck on your test.